Okay, here we're continuing in ARC section 80, and that section discusses performing compilation engagements of financial statements. And throughout the past few videos, we have been discussing the accountant's compilation report and what we should include in that report under different circumstances. And so for this particular video, the circumstance is that supplementary information has been included in the financial statements. So how should we modify our compilation report to reflect that supplementary information and the procedures that we performed upon it? And so this is in ARC section 80.34 through 36. And the next video we'll discuss what to do when we have required supplementary information. But this in this instance is management's decision to include supplementary information. So it says if there's supplementary information accompanying the financial statements and our compilation report, then we should clearly indicate the degree of responsibility, if any, that we are taking with respect to that information. And we should indicate that responsibility in a separate paragraph in our compilation report or a separate report on the supplementary information. So we can either include that paragraph within the same accountant's report that we're reporting on, or make a completely different report that is on its own and references the supplementary information. And within that separate paragraph or separate report, we have a list here of things or statements that we need to include in that paragraph. It says we should include a statement that says the supplementary information is presented for purposes of additional analysis and is not a required part of the basic financial statements. We should include a statement that the supplementary information is the responsibility of management and that it was subject to the compilation engagement, and that supplementary information was not audited or reviewed, and therefore we do not express an opinion, a conclusion, nor provide any assurance on such information. And so this paragraph was under the assumption that the supplementary information was included in our compilation procedures. But if it turns out that the supplementary information was not included in our compilation procedures, we would include these statements in a separate paragraph or a separate report. And so when we performed a compilation engagement with respect to the financial statements, but the supplementary information was not subject to the compilation engagement, then we should include a separate paragraph in the accountant's compilation report on the financial statements, or issue a separate report that states the supplementary information is presented for purposes of additional analysis and is not required part of the basic financial statements. The supplementary information is the responsibility of management, and the supplementary information was not subject to the compilation engagement, and the accountant does not express an opinion, conclusion, nor provide any assurance on such information. So these basically contain the same statements to discuss. The only difference is this one says that the compilation or the supplementary information was not part of the compilation procedures, and this one says that it was. So some supplementary information examples might be some type of schedule that supports the financial statements. In the case of construction contractors, there might be a schedule of uncompleted contracts in the back, and that might, some of our compilation procedures that would necessitate this paragraph would be that we agreed or reconciled that schedule to the financial statements and to the trial balance. But if we didn't reconcile it to the financial statements and read through it, then we might include this paragraph instead. I have some explanatory material here, A42 through 43, as well as 41 and 43. So let's take a look at A41 through A43 to get some more information on how to disclose in our accountant's compilation report the situation when there is supplementary information attached to the financial statements. But first, let's get an understanding of what exactly is supplementary information. And so this is information presented outside the basic financial statements, excluding required supplementary information, which we'll talk about in the next video. But this supplementary information is not considered necessary for the financial statements to be fairly presented in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework, and it may be presented in a document containing the financial statements subjected to the compilation engagement, or separate from the financial statements subjected to the compilation engagement. So this is basically a schedule, potentially, or other information either presented with the financial statements or outside of the financial statements. This kind of some additional information for the users of the financial statements, but it's not required by, for instance, GAAP or the cash basis of accounting or regulatory basis, and it's just additional information that might be helpful that management decided to include with the financial statement. So here at A6 and A7, we have some additional information about what supplementary information is, and it says it includes additional details or explanations of items in or related to the basic financial statements. For instance, consolidating information, historical summaries of items extracted from the financial statements, statistical data, and other material, some of which may be from sources outside the accounting system or outside the entity. And so the supplementary information may be prepared in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework by regulatory or contractual requirements, in accordance with management's criteria, or in accordance with other requirements. So this supplementary information doesn't necessarily have to be under the applicable financial reporting framework that the financial statements are under. Okay, so now with our new understanding of what supplementary information is, and then now we can understand what to do or what to include in our accountant's compilation report when management has included supplementary information with their financial statements. So we have here a few examples of what to include. It says that this is an example of how an accountant might word a separate paragraph in an accountant's compilation report that addresses the supplementary information when we have performed a compilation engagement on both the financial statements and the supplementary information. So this is the one where we have included the supplementary information in our compilation procedures. And it might say something like the accompanying supplementary information is presented for purposes of additional analysis and is not a required part of the basic financial statements. Such information is responsibility of management, and the supplementary information was subject to our compilation engagement. We have not audited or reviewed the supplementary information and do not express an opinion or conclusion, nor provide any assurance on such information. So we would need to add this paragraph to our accountant's compilation report or in a separate report specifically for the supplementary information. And here we have an example where we did not perform a compilation on the supplementary information. So this one says that the accompanying supplementary information is presented for purposes of additional analysis and is not required part of the basic financial statements, just like the other paragraph that we did. And it reminds them that it's the responsibility of management. And it says that we were not, or that the supplementary information was not subject to our compilation engagement, and that we do not express an opinion, conclusion, nor provide any assurance on the information. So basically the same paragraph, only here we say that the compilation was subject to our, or the supplementary information was subject to our compilation engagement, and here we say that it was not subject to our compilation engagement. And also here at A43, it tells us that we should include a sentence at the bottom of the supplementary information, the page with the supplementary information on it. We should include a sentence to the effect of see accountant's report or see accountant's compilation report. That way, if the supplementary information somehow gets detached from the accountant's compilation report, then the users of that supplementary information will know that they need to ask for or find the accountant's compilation report so they don't have any unintended level of reliance on it. So before we issue our accountant's compilation report, we might require management to include the sentence at the bottom of their supplementary information page.